Very busy, stressful day. So, but very busy. A lot of people looking to file and either file an extension or get it wrapped up and get it filed for the last day.
And today is the deadline for filing your income tax forms. But if you missed the April 15th deadline, you can still file for an extension.
There's a little paper. It's really simple. It's kind of just your name, address, social, and you just either submit it electronically is what we do, or you drop it in the mail, get it postmarked by today. If you miss today, well, first off, if you do a refund, if you get a refund, well, this day isn't quite as relevant. You have up to 3 years to file and get your refund back. If you owe money, you really want to get filed so that you can either file an extension or file the return, because otherwise there's a penalty. It's 5% of the balance every month, so up to 25%. So it adds up very quickly. Whereas if you don't pay it on time, it's not near as much. It's only 0.5%.
Jarrett Gold is the owner of Liberty Tax in Waynesboro, Stuarts Draft, and Stanton.
It's critical, otherwise it's late. So you got to make sure you get it, dropped in the mail, postmarked today. You can, pay a little extra, get it certified, and then like a return receipt, the assigned return receipt, so that they have to actually sign for it. And then you'll get a little card back in the mail, and it shows that the IRS accepted, your extension.
Still, he says an extension is only a quick fix because eventually you will have to pay your taxes.
You can still file. You definitely want to file. But the deadline, it's definitely the deadline that they have posted. An extension, if you file an extension, you get 6 months more to get your paperwork organized, and then your deadline's October 15th. And so, it's a 6-month extension. Now, you're still technically on the hook to pay the balance, but you really don't know what that balance is. You can make you can make a payment today and an estimated payment, and that'll help you save on some penalties. But you definitely want to file. If you think you're going to owe money, then you want to file something today, whether it be the tax return or an extension.
He says having a copy of the certified or registered mail receipt is your proof of filing the extension on time.
Then the IRS, if they protest you or say you didn't get it filed on time, if you have that, then you have something in writing that says, oh no, I mailed it on time, and you signed for it, a few days later.
According to Gold, it depends on who you ask if the Trump administration's numerous tax changes have benefited or hindered Americans.
A lot of big changes this year with taxes. They call the Trump tax cuts.
He explained.
They restructured a lot in the tax code. The forms have changed. It's made a very exciting year for us. We're trying to get used to and familiar with all the forms. They changed things like the exemptions. They doubled the child tax credit to $2,000. There's just been a long list of things that are different.
Gold says you have to look at your tax return carefully to determine if you get your money back in a refund or did you receive money during the year.
Overall, I've seen a tax cut, like anywhere from 2 to 3%, maybe more. But sometimes people's refunds weren't as big because the withholdings in their checks last year were lowered. And so they kind of got that money every week over the year, but sometimes it's hard to feel and see that. Versus right now, taxes are top of mind during tax season.
I questioned him if it was best to file electronically on your own or hire a tax preparer.
I help a lot of people find a lot of extra money that they weren't expecting, and I do that, a lot. And so I'd say it helps. It helps to get a tax preparer to look at your information. I always double check and look at people's stuff for free, because I know that most likely more than half of them will find something that we can do to help them.
Gold has been professionally filing income tax forms for more than 15 years. But when it comes to being audited by the IRS,
I don't have a statistic for that, how many audits they do for self-prepared versus professional prepared. The chances of audit, from what I understand, are like somewhere between 2 and 5% of the tax returns actually get audited. And obviously the IRS has some some metrics where they're looking to, business and revenues, and there's sort of an algorithm that they have to pull more risky files.
His best advice to taxpayers is to be consistent.
And that's the best way to keep them off your back. File consistently, year after year. So if you file every year, and file, a lot of times if it's more or less the same as years prior, then you're probably not going to hear anything from the IRS.
In Stuarts Draft, Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through News.